negotiate on our own terms. It's not about the money we can get anymore. It's not about the appointments we can get anymore. We are creating wealth for our nation. Some of us are putting Nigeria on the map more than the government. And our generation must know that it's not about handouts. And that's why I laugh when people come out to abuse some of us who support President Jonathan. Support your candidate and let me support mine. And take a look. No matter how much I am insulted for the stand that I've taken, not taking a side at all is a more criminal offense than taking the wrong side. If I've taken the wrong side today, let me be the one to bear the ultimate consequences of my decision. But I want to tell you that I would not condescend to be provoked to abuse anybody in exchange for a decision that I've taken. I'm 31, old enough. I've lived 3 decades and 1 year in Nigeria. Old enough to know the difference between activity and movement, between substance and promises. Old enough to discern and decipher which one pays my future as a young person and the future of my country. And that's why my support for the president will be conditional. I would be one of the greatest critics of Jonathan if he returns in the second term, when he returns in the second term, and he does not put certain strategic measures in place. Now, let me close by saying this. In Yoruba, we always say, Oja Oyingbo Mokpenikon Wow. It means that Oyingbo market is so large, it doesn't even recognize the people that don't come. Sometimes my background and my career has shown me that when the masses are on your side, there is nothing that you can do to stop an idea whose time has come. And so as much as possible, I like the momentum. I like what has happened to President Jonathan. It shook him up a little bit. And our president has understood that, yes, you can be a good man, but talk doesn't cook rice. And so, I have admirably watched President Jonathan move from just being a good gentleman into a great statesman. Yes. And I've watched him consistently being insulted and victimized, and in the face of all of that vituperation and vitriol, he has maintained great calm. Now, let me tell you, we would go to the polls in 2015. We don't consider rigging at all. It's not an option. I won't put my integrity on it. And I work on the campaign, so I can tell you there's no plan to rig at all. But take a look. At the end of the day, it would not be about Jonathan. It would not be about 2015. It will be about the people of Nigeria who have decided to take a stand to move forward than to explore a change that they do not know what it promises in the long run. Let me close by challenging our generation that the older people have mastered the art of fighting in the afternoon and meeting up later at night. And so I would not fight you. I will keep my friends. This election will come and go. My friends and my business partners will remain. There's nothing that we're going to benefit, because trust me, there's more that unites us than those that separate us. If you try to clap with one hand, it doesn't work. Now try to clap with both of your hands. And let me assure you that ultimately, as a Christian, I have prayed. And I don't say this because I want to try to sound philosophical or try to sound religious. But I know that God never fails. I won't be on the side of failure. So let's get up and let us decide to move forward. I thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Mokhtar, Audu, and the lady who says, you really can't cook rice. Something about rice and a pot. Ladies and gentlemen, still on this session of Facts and Figures, I'd like to remind you that this is televised live on STV, NTA channels, AIT, and FRCN. We'd like to thank them for joining us this evening. And of course, the official online media partner for this event is thesheet.ng. This conversation is ongoing. Just follow at GEJ Wins It and hashtag GEJ wins it. You can also click on the link on that Twitter handle for live streaming as well. I'd like to call on the fourth person to speak this evening, in the person of Ike Chidolwe, to come and give his facts.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, that's more like it. I really appreciate what the last speaker said. She kind of spoke mainly to the young people. And you know, this election, we can actually roll out all the facts, but it's not just about the facts. It's about understanding, comparing the two. The opponent to Mr. President in this election belongs to the century before the millennium. I mean, we are talking about 1983, when he shot himself into power. I mean, 1983 was when, in 1983, President Goodluck Jonathan was just 26 years old. In 1983, Barack Obama was just 22 years old. In 1983, the Prime Minister of UK was just 17 years old. So, you know, the young people, you have things to compare. In 1983, Russia was known as the Union of Soviet and Socialist Republic. The map of the world was different. There was a country called Czechoslovakia. In 1983, Mandela was still in prison. In 1983, Germany was broken into two, East and West Germany. In 1983, Ronald Reagan was the President of America, and Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister of the UK. So we are talking about, this is where they went and removed from the archive somebody to run in an election here. But maybe the young people may not really get it if we're looking at it this way. But you have to look at it, what happens 33 years from now, when it is the turn of the people that are in their 20s now to produce the leadership of Nigeria? What happens when a retired, old and tired Dr. Goodluck Jonathan comes back to run for election? Will they not wonder, is this man, what's wrong with this grandfather? I mean, so the thing here is not about reeling out these numbers. The numbers are factual. You can check it on the internet. The numbers are real. Nobody cooked up anything here. But the thing about it is that change has to be generational, and change has to be fundamental. And there is nothing they are offering that is preaching to these two things. Now, let me look at the numbers. 6,000, okay, our Shopee friend has already given us a lot of numbers about Shopee, so I'm going to remove it here. So we'll go to 24 numbers of Nigerian banks now fully stable and adequately capitalized. Power sector, we have 2,000 megawatt capacity of the private sector-led federal government-backed solar plants under construction in Yobe and Kano State. From zero, we now have 50 number of government services that are available online. I mean, you can get your passport, your driver's license, everything. You can process it online now. Those are remarkable. You know, the tele-density before now, I mean, we all can remember you have to go line up in a small NITEL place to make calls or receive calls out of the country. Now, and everybody here has a phone. You know, it's really something remarkable. A lot of things are happening here, and we cannot deny them. We cannot ignore them. And another thing going from this table, let us not, the opposition has tried to reduce this thing into a 1 or 2 talking points. Like you said, no, there is more in that ballot than what they are saying. Somebody that lives in my part of the country is not worried about somebody that lives in another part of the country is. So when you go to the ballot, what you need, somebody may be concerned about security, and that person is concerned about employment. So there is more in that ballot than one topic. So let us not allow them to reduce the narrative into a 2 talking points. Thank you. And I would like to introduce the next speaker. He's my friend. He's a real estate professional, Mr. Favor Folabi. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Kava and his team for giving me this unique opportunity. I thank the SGF for being able to speak very much to what actually inspires the president. I think that was very